What if the world's most powerful secret society wasn't just a social club, but a guardian of ancient forbidden knowledge? A brotherhood that stretches back not centuries, but millennia, carrying wisdom whispered by magicians, mystics, and pharaohs. Welcome to the world of Freemasonry, an organization cloaked in ritual, bathed in symbols, and bound by secrets. But to understand what it really is, we must go back, way back, to a time before modern history, before organized religion, before the word Freemason was ever spoken. Because the true origins of Freemasonry don't start in 1717 with the formation of the Grand Lodge in London. Number. They start with the occult. Let's begin with a name you've probably heard, the Knights Templar. Once hailed as the protectors of Christian pilgrims, the Templars were a mysterious and elite military order during the Crusades. But beneath their armor and vows lay something far more intriguing, an obsession with the esoteric. While stationed in the Holy Land, the Templars weren't just defending territory, they were digging, excavating, searching, and according to legend they found something. Sacred relics, lost texts, perhaps even the Ark of the Covenant. Whatever it was, it gave them power, wealth, influence, and most importantly, knowledge. Knowledge the Church didn't want them to have. Eventually the Templars were disbanded, persecuted, and many were burned alive for heresy. But did their ideas die with them? Or did they survive, hidden in symbols and passed on through underground brotherhoods? Enter the Rosicrucians. In 1614, anonymous manifestos began circulating in Europe, written by a secretive group known as the Rosicrucians. These texts spoke of a hidden fraternity devoted to spiritual enlightenment, alchemy, and the invisible college of wisdom. They claimed lineage from the ancient mystery schools of Egypt and Greece. And most chilling of all, their philosophies mirrored those that would later appear in Masonic ritual: transformation, secrecy, moral allegory, and the search for divine truth through symbolism. So were the Freemasons an evolution of the Rosicrucians? Or perhaps the same group under a new name? Then there's the influence of Hermeticism, an ancient occult philosophy said to have originated with the mythical figure Hermes Trismegistus, a fusion of the Egyptian god Thoth and the Greek Hermes. His teachings form the backbone of Western esotericism, influencing everything from alchemy to astrology. The Hermetic principle of as above, so below, that the macrocosm mirrors the microcosm, is woven into Masonic ritual. So too are the sacred geometries, the hidden meanings behind numbers, and the emphasis on personal initiation and transformation. This isn't coincidence. The roots of Freemasonry are entangled with Hermeticism, like vines in an ancient temple, quiet, persistent, and eternal. So here's the question: was Freemasonry created by stoneworkers, or by mystics hiding in plain sight? Let's talk about Kabbalah, the Jewish mystical tradition that delves into the structure of the universe, divine emanations, and hidden paths of spiritual ascent. Its tree of life is a map not only of creation, but of the soul's journey back to the divine. Many Masonic degrees, particularly in higher orders like the Scottish Rite, mirror this journey, climbing from ignorance to enlightenment, darkness to light. The stages of Masonic initiation are more than ceremonies. They're ritualized metaphors for inner transformation, much like the stages of the Kabbalistic path. And in the lodge, symbols like the blazing star, the pillars of Boaz and Jachin, and the checkerboard floor echo both Kabbalistic and Hermetic allegories, suggesting balance between dualities, movement between worlds, and hidden gateways to understanding. So why the secrecy? Why encode these teachings into symbols, handshakes, and oaths? Because this knowledge was dangerous. For centuries, the Catholic Church condemned astrology, alchemy, and mysticism as heresy. Possessing such texts could lead to torture or death. So those who pursued this path cloaked their beliefs in allegory. They met in secret, they spoke in riddles, and they passed their wisdom through initiation. Freemasonry, then, may have become the safe harbor for those seeking to preserve the forbidden philosophies of the ancients, a vessel sailing silently through the tides of history, carrying with it the secrets of Atlantis, Egypt, Babylon, and beyond. Were the Freemasons protectors of lost Egyptian wisdom, or keepers of dark knowledge banned by the Church? The truth may be somewhere in between, but one thing is certain: Freemasonry isn't what it seems, and its origin story is far older and far stranger than most dare to imagine. The square and compass, the all-seeing eye, the twin pillars, these are symbols we've all seen, on dollar bills, in architecture, in the logos of elite organizations. But what do they actually mean? In Freemasonry, nothing is just decoration. Every image, every gesture, every angle is loaded with meaning. Symbols are the language of secrecy, the way the initiated communicate across time and space without speaking a word. Let's start with the most recognizable: the square and compass. On the surface, these are the tools of a builder, but in Freemasonry, they represent something far deeper. The square symbolizes morality, living a life of virtue, squaring your actions with truth. The compass, on the other hand, represents spiritual boundaries, drawing a circle around your passions and keeping them in check. Together, they form a perfect balance between the physical and the spiritual, the material world and the inner self. At the center of the square and compass, you'll often find the letter G. To the uninitiated, it might stand for God, but others claim it represents geometry, the secret code of the universe. After all, to ancient builders and esoteric philosophers alike, geometry wasn't just math, it was sacred, the divine blueprint behind all creation, a system that revealed the mind of the great architect. Now let's talk about the all-seeing eye, perhaps the most misunderstood symbol of them all. To some, it's proof of a global conspiracy. To others, it's simply the eye of providence. But within Masonic tradition, it represents something even older: the omniscient gaze of the divine, the ever-present force that sees all and judges not with cruelty, but with truth. But here's the twist: this symbol didn't originate with Freemasonry. It appears in ancient Egypt as the Eye of Horus, a symbol of protection, wisdom, and inner sight. It later resurfaced in Hermeticism and Renaissance occultism before making its way into Masonic imagery. So ask yourself, was this an adoption or a continuation? Next, we come to the twin pillars, Boaz and Jachin. These two names are pulled directly from the Old Testament, said to have stood at the entrance of Solomon's temple. But in Freemasonry, they're more than architectural references. They represent duality. Boaz symbolizes strength. Jachin stands for stability. Together, they are the masculine and the feminine, the sun and the moon, the seen and the unseen. In occult systems, these opposites must be balanced to open the path to higher knowledge. They are the gatekeepers to initiation, the first threshold every Mason must pass. And what lies between them? Often, a checkerboard floor. This black and white pattern isn't just decoration. It symbolizes the dual nature of reality: light and dark, good and evil, ignorance and truth. Walking upon it is a metaphor. Life is lived between opposites. To master it, one must walk the middle path. This same motif appears in Hermetic, Gnostic, and even Eastern traditions. The yin and yang, the tree of life's left and right pillars. It's a pattern that repeats across human spirituality. Freemasonry simply encodes it, visibly hidden in plain sight. Then there's the blazing star. 5 points, one center, radiating light. To some, it's the Star of Bethlehem. To others, the sign of man perfected, the microcosm of the human being in harmony with the universe. But in deeper occult terms, the blazing star represents divine light, gnosis, or enlightenment. The moment when the seeker transcends the material and grasps the eternal. And it's not placed randomly in Masonic lodges. It often sits where heaven and earth meet, where knowledge descends and transformation begins. Now ask yourself, why are these symbols not explained outright to new initiates? Why are they cloaked in allegory? Because that's the point. Freemasonry, like the ancient mystery schools before it, teaches through layers. You don't learn by being told, you learn by decoding, by contemplating, by experiencing. The deeper you go, the more is revealed. But not all symbols are ancient. Some have evolved. Hidden in city layouts, corporate logos, and national monuments are echoes of Masonic geometry and symbolism. Take Washington, D.C., for example. The street grid, the obelisks, the compass rose in the Capitol rotunda, all meticulously placed, all symbolic. Coincidence or legacy? Because symbolism is the ultimate language of power. It bypasses logic and speaks directly to the subconscious. It imprints ideas not through explanation, but through presence, through repetition, through awe. Freemasonry understands this, and this is why its secrets have lasted not for years, but for centuries. Because the truth is never shouted. It's whispered through symbols. The door is closed, the lights are dimmed. Robed figures stand in silence. A man blindfolded kneels. A sharp object is pressed to his chest. A voice speaks. In the presence of the great architect of the universe, do you solemnly swear to keep the secrets of this fraternity under penalty of death? No, this isn't a movie. It's an initiation. A real Masonic ritual performed in lodges around the world. And what happens next is something most people will never see. Freemasonry is known for its symbols and secrecy, but what truly separates it from any other organization is its rituals, deeply theatrical, often unsettling, and absolutely drenched in allegory. But are they just ceremonial, or do they hint at something darker? Let's pull back the curtain. The journey of a Mason begins with the entered apprentice degree, the first of 3 foundational levels, or degrees. This ritual is deliberately disorienting. The initiate is blindfolded, partially stripped, and led around the lodge by a rope, or cable tow, around his neck. He is warned that betrayal of the secrets may lead to violent consequences, symbolically described as having his throat slit from ear to ear. Why such intense oaths? Defenders say it's allegory, that the penalties are symbolic, meant to impress upon members the seriousness of their commitment. But critics ask a more chilling question. If the oaths are symbolic, what else might not be? The second degree, Fellow Craft, delves deeper into esoteric teachings, introducing elements of sacred geometry, the architecture of Solomon's Temple, and the transformation of the self through knowledge. Then comes the third degree, Master Mason. This is where the ritual becomes something else entirely. In it, the initiate plays the role of Hiram Abiff, the chief architect of Solomon's Temple, who is attacked and killed for refusing to reveal a sacred word. He is struck 3 times and buried in a shallow grave. Then, later in the ceremony, he is symbolically raised from the dead by a grip known only to Master Masons. The message? Death and resurrection, ignorance and illumination, a symbolic death of the old self, and the rebirth of a new one. But here's the thing. This pattern isn't exclusive to Freemasonry. It mirrors the death and resurrection rituals of ancient mystery schools, Osiris in Egypt, Mithras in Rome, Dionysus in Greece. These were initiatory deaths, designed to awaken a deeper consciousness in the candidate. So is Freemasonry simply playing out a metaphor? Or is it preserving a sacred ritual passed down through centuries of hidden tradition? That's only the beginning. Higher degrees, such as those in the Scottish Rite and York Rite, include even more elaborate ceremonies. Some involve skulls, coffins, secret words said to unlock spiritual gates, and references to alchemy, Kabbalah, and the transmigration of the soul. And yet, for all their complexity, most Masons will tell you there's nothing sinister about them, that it's about moral development, fraternity, and charity. But this raises the next question. If Freemasonry is harmless, why the secrecy? Why are the rituals guarded by blood oaths? Why have Freemasons historically been banned, hunted, or surveilled by empires, churches, and governments? And most controversially, is there a hidden agenda? Some conspiracy theories claim Freemasonry is a global power network, a secret society infiltrating politics, religion, and finance. That their symbols appearing on money, architecture, and corporate logos aren't decorative, but territorial markers. Others believe Freemasonry is a modern continuation of the ancient mystery cults, preserving spiritual knowledge that threatens organized religion and centralized authority. That the initiate isn't just joining a club, but being initiated into a counter-narrative of history, one where divine truth is not dictated but discovered. There's no single answer. And perhaps that's the point. Freemasonry thrives in the space between fact and myth. Its rituals are designed not to explain, but to awaken. Its secrets are hidden not to deceive, but to challenge. And its true purpose? That's something only the initiated are ever meant to fully understand. So is it fact or fiction? Harmless fraternity or hidden force? We may never know. But one thing is certain. Behind the symbols, the handshakes, and the rituals lies a mystery that has survived empires, religions, and revolutions. And maybe that's the real secret. Not what they're hiding, but how they've endured for so long.